Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Jodie Miners. I've come here all the way from Melbourne, Australia to give you this talk today. So the talk is entitled Something Better Change. And that is because of London's calling and the clash. I had to make sure that I were, kept in keeping with that. Now, being an Australian, I know nothing about 70s British punk, so I did have to ask a friend and she came up with this name for me. So I'm very, very pleased that I've at least got a reference to the British punk of the 70s. Okay, so the Salesforce actions. There's two types of actions. There's global actions and quick actions. So a global action will look like this, where we've got a, it's now new, it's called Global Actions now in the top right-hand corner of your Salesforce screen in Lightning, and you can create new records. These new records are not linked to any other record. So they're a bit limited, and I try and limit how many global actions I have in my orgs. And then we've got quick action, this is still global actions. In Salesforce, for Lightning for Outlook and Lightning for Gmail, you can also create global actions in there. Now you can't create quick actions or actions that are related to other records in Lightning for Outlook and Lightning for Gmail, but you can do global actions. On Salesforce Mobile, you've got global actions there also. So, there's some really good things you can do with global actions. Oh, and on communities. Do you know that the web to lead or web to case form on communities is actually just a global action, and it's actually really easy to set up. So you just create a global action and put it on your community, and that becomes your web to lead and web to case form. So then we've got quick actions. So quick actions is what we're going to focus on today because there's so much more benefit you can get to it. So we've got quick actions. They can be exactly the same quick actions that you create. They can be on Salesforce Mobile. They can be at the top right-hand corner of your page on the Lightning page. They can be a part of Chatter, depending on what type of action you create. They can be, even the standard actions at the end of each row are actually actions. We just can't control them at the moment. And you can have it, as again, another Chatter action, which is in the, on the page, that's on the home page, on a component on the home page. We've got the new feature in Spring 18 where we can do mass quick actions on standard list views. So this is a quick action I created called change owner on cases. And then this is the type of action I'm going to be showing you today, which is where we can show different details about the record or update different details about the record on the Lightning page. So that's it, no more slides. Okay, we're going to get straight into the demos. So this bit.ly link, and you can even take a picture of the QR code if you'd like, is a link to every single thing I'm talking about, all of the notes, all of the screenshots, everything that we're talking about today, you'll be able to get on that link. So I'll just give you a minute or so to take a pic. All right, so let's move on, and we're going to look at that data. So this is what this is. This is my wiki. So about 6 years ago, I decided that everything I know about Salesforce I need to share with the world. So I created a wiki, and what has happened? So sorry. I was trying to do nice transitions between. Sorry. You've always got to have some technical issue between. Yeah. Okay. So let's stop presenting that. Okay, so this is my wiki, and so everything that I know about Salesforce, I try and put here. So this is all the details here, and I've tried to be really comprehensive and give you all the information that you could possibly. There's links to all the help documents, there's links to all the trailhead modules, there's some advanced guides, there's some things that, I've given you tips about what I do with actions, and all this sort of stuff. So, but we're going to delve right into actually creating an action. So you probably have seen that the standard sort of functionality of actions is to replace URL hacks. So URL hacks were never really supported, but we just hacked away and did them. And so one of the features of actions is to use that to create a URL hack. So it's the wrong one. I've got two of them here. So you can see here I've passed in the latest case into this new contact record. So that's what we do for a URL hack, where we pre-fill this new record that we're creating based on the data that's in the record that we're creating it from. So that's standard URL hack thing. I'm not going to show you that. There's a whole trailhead module on that, right? You can go and do that in your own time. So what I'm going to show you is what I really love to use actions for. Now, this is an account and it has an SLA. So we've got an SLA field here. What if we had all of the details that we needed to know about that SLA in a separate screen that was only displayed when the SLA was valid? So if they had an SLA and that SLA was, active, then it displays the SLA details. Would that be cool? Great. So we're going to create that right now. So we're going to go into the object on the account. And we're going to go to buttons, links, and actions and create a new action. So you're going to have a lot of actions, so get a good naming convention for it. So this is an update record action. So you can see there's different types of actions. The new ones this round are flow, and I'll show you that in a second. But you can do lightning components, etc. So we're going to do just an update. Most of the ones we will do is an update record. Then we're going to call it display SLA. Okay, and that's it. We're just going to leave the rest of it as it is. Now, our standard action appears here. We don't want really any of these fields, so we're just going to delete all these fields. It's really annoying that we have to go and delete all these fields. I wish it could just, allow me to put whichever fields I want in there. So we're going to add some SLA fields, so the SLA serial number, SLA expiration date, what else would we want? Maybe the industry, and maybe the ownership, okay? And when we create an SLA, we absolutely want that to be required, and we want the SLA expiration date to be required, okay? Now, I can add as many fields on here as I like. It says, when you add more than 9, I think, it says, hey, just be careful, adding more than 9 may affect performance. Everything I'm doing here, I'm going to caveat will say may affect performance, right? But you've got to just take it to see, how that's going to work for you. No, I've not seen it affect performance. No. But that's just in my experience. Okay, so that action is now created. So we're going to come back to our account record and we're going to edit the lightning page. So the action goes with the standard lightning component called the related record component. Okay, and then we're going to further extend it and use the new functionality to conditionally display components. So we're going to grab the related record component and we're going to stick it up here. And we're going to choose the update action. So we're using this account and we're going to choose the update action that we just created, which was display SLA. Okay? Now, we don't have to do anything with the create action because in this case, we're not doing anything with the action. And what we want to do is add component visibility on this one to say when the SLA equals, no, that's obviously the wrong field because we want Okay. Where's my SLA field? So the SLA field is there. Okay, so let me show. I'm going to just cheat. I had another thing. Right. So the conditional component thing is a little bit funny with the way it does which fields you can display, which fields you can use for the conditional functionality, and I don't know why that demo is not working. But so the idea is create a checkbox formula that has all of the conditions in there that you want to have that makes that conditional component display, and use that. I just probably didn't set up my demo good enough, sorry. Okay, so we set it to conditionally to be when show equals detail fields. Okay. So remember that when you make changes to your Lightning page, if it's the first time you've made it, you need to activate it. But we don't need to do that because it's not the first time. So now, what I wanted it to do is show when the SLA was gold. Okay, so I don't know why that pick list was not showing up. So what I'm going to do is make it show when that equals detail fields, and our component is now showing with our the subset of fields that we want to show just for SLA. So here it is here. And so the other cool thing is, you know how you've always wanted conditional required fields, and the only way that you can do it at the moment is with validation rules. Now we've got conditional required fields because we've got this component that only displays if there's an SLA, and now if we need to edit this thing, we've got that this field is required. How cool is that? Right. No, because this field is not on the main page detail. So it's only there. So we can have the field on the main page detail, we can have the field optional on the main page detail, and we can have the field here separately and required here separately. How cool is that? We've only shown fields that are relevant when we've got an SLA, which is really cool. You can think of thousands of ways to do this in your org. So I've got a client that has margins on their contracts. So if there is a margin, then we should display the margin section. Okay? So that's really cool, and we've done the conditional required fields. So I want to show you some other ways that I use actions. So so I've got this action here called text, and I'm just showing you some new features. I've done a video about this on YouTube, so you can search on YouTube, and I've just done a macro that all it does is change the value, and it's going to make the let's try this again. So I've added some more. Okay, so I did a macro, and that's then changed the field value, which has changed set the conditional component, and then makes that action shown. And then I can just do another macro to hide the quick action. So I've done a video about that. You can have a look at the video for more details around that. So that one's gone now. So just to show you a few other little bits. Now, remember when I changed the page layout, I forgot to show you something. You know the caching, when you change things in production that you want to refresh a page, and you end up having to do a control refresh about 10 times, and it doesn't actually refresh the page, and then you don't trust what you're seeing, and the formula's not refreshed and all this sort of stuff. There is this really cool Chrome extension called Clear Cache, and I've got to set the pictures in my wiki page. And if you set one setting on that, then with one click of the button, you can clear the thing called IndexedDB, which is behind the scenes on your Chrome, that controls the caching, and refresh the page, and you know it's refreshed. Okay, one click of the one button. So this came from a Salesforce person, so it's actually legit. Okay, it's not a hack. Clear cache extension, but it's in my notes. Okay, now the other thing is, now if you've just come from Christie Session, who here has just come from Christie Session? Hands up. Okay, so you know that some actions go at the top of the page and some actions go down here in the chatter and activities area, don't you? Yep. If you don't know that, Christie has a webinar about this, and I have linked to the webinar on the page. So look, an email is just an action. Okay. Now in winter, in spring 18, you can now pre-fill your email details. I haven't done it here, but you can actually pre-fill the subject, the HTML text of the email, so you can have an action that is email this person about this. You can also do that via macro, via quick text, via all sorts of other reasons. So I'm not sure why you would use quick action to do that, but you can. Yep. Yep. But you have to have a button, a separate button on the activity screen there for each one. Okay. Now, can the from address be conditional depending on the user? Now, make a formula field, put that in the quick text, put the quick text in the email conditional, and see if that works. Try that. Good. Thank you. All right, so now, moving on, I'm going to show you a couple of other things I use actions for. Now, everyone has done emoji in their Salesforce, haven't they? In a formula, you create a formula field, stick an emoji in it, and it sort of gives you a bit more life and meaning to your data. So here I've got the industry is biotechnology, and if I change it to, what was the industry that I had? I wasn't sure, sorry. Agriculture, that's what it was. Then I've got an avocado for agriculture, okay? If I change it to consulting, then I've got a really appropriate emoji for consulting. All right, so emojis is a little bit old school. Now I'm going to show you some really cool stuff that two previous MVPs now working for Salesforce.org, Christian Carter and Beth Brianna, set up a few years ago in Classic in an app that they called Indicators. And so I've taken what they've done and brought that into Lightning. So these are indicators. And I've given you links and examples as to exactly how you build these indicators in the help notes. So you can see here that the indicator is much more visual and much more bold, and you see at a glance what's going on. It's a consulting, and the flag icon might mean something. And then if I change it from a consulting to agriculture over here, then the indicator is going to change automatically for me. Okay. So these are little things that you can set up. They're called the button factory, that you can go and set up these little buttons. And these ones here are just in your Salesforce org already. So you can just grab the URLs to these icons here. And then you can do things like key numbers. If you've got a key number, like how many cases are open, or how much dollars are owing, or something like that, you could build an indicator or an image that shows really quite clearly what that indicator is. So I like to have these indicators at the top right-hand corner of my page, always in the same place. And sometimes I put 3 or 4 indicators on the same field, depending on I can see I probably could fit 2 there. But if I had 1 field across, I could probably fit 4 indicators at a time. So things like, we just did the GDPR session. If they had do not email, I put a big red envelope on the indicator saying do not email. If they are okay to email, green envelope. So you can just got that visual thing. You know, the other things that we can do here, which is, show a progress bar, if you've got a something field that has the progress percentage. There are other things that you can do, just show different shields or buttons. I'm not sure that these are so fabulous, but I've just given you the options there. I really like this one. Now, I just want to point out there's a bug here. For some reason, the very last field on the action on the related record component indents a little bit, and I don't know why. but it's just a little bit of a bug. But I like this one. Have the report hyperlinks. When you get to a certain stage or particular reports that you want to run on this record, so have those hyperlinks there in a formula field, and only just conditionally display them when you're at that stage and those reports make sense, rather than having the reports down the bottom of the page when you have them in the related links at the bottom. Now you might have a logo that is a product logo, or the person's image or something like that you want to display. Again, I like them sort of in the side panel that you can put one indicator. Now this is a new accordion component that came out in spring 18. That is quite useful. The one thing is that one of the accordion components must be open at all times. Okay, and then of course you can, if you really want to, display everything. Please don't. Okay, so that was the main things I wanted to show you, but we've got 5 minutes left, so I wanted to show you a couple of other quick things. One of the things I've done, which is pretty cool. Okay, so quickly I'll just show you the, if I go to the My Cases, and I choose a few cases, I can click Change Owner. Now this is a really silly related record, really silly action that I did because there already is a change owner on cases. These multi-select actions are only available on cases, leads, and custom objects. So really limiting at the moment. They've released these things and they've released them only half, and then we can't use them for real. We can't use them on accounts and can't use them on contacts. So you can't go and quickly change the owner on accounts with a quick action like this. And there already is a change owner action anyway, but it's just to show you that you can do that. One of the really cool things I've done, and this is a bit controversial, right? So this is the cases screen inside the sales app. So just pretend you've got a service team and you've got a sales team. The sales team need to see some key details about the cases, but they don't need to see everything. Tell me what's missing from this page layout. There's no related list. There's no details. So the standard page layout, that is cases page layout, which is the details component, is not on the page. All I've done is created an action, an update action, with some key fields and shown that as the only thing on this page inside this app. Remember, because you can have different Lightning pages in different apps. Okay, so how cool is that? Now, remember that Salesforce has promised us publicly 3 or 4 times modular page layouts and conditional fields. So remember that whatever you do here, you may have to rebuild when those things come on. But they're not currently on the roadmap, even on the future bit on the roadmap. So who knows when they're coming? We don't know. So, I'd build these with caution. I think they're very useful, but just with caution to know that, I have many clients. So how many are going to build with this and then I have to go back and fix it, change it all later down the track for many clients. But I really like the indicators. I think the indicators are just a fabulous way of using things. And then some new features that have come out just this month is the flow action. So rather than creating, so flows are not really actions, but you can now call a flow from an action. So let's have a look at a flow. So I'm just going to show the flow component. And this is a flow, very simple flow. And nothing on this flow can't be done with an action or anyway, because all it is taking in some subject and description and creating a case. Okay, so I'm just creating a subject, putting a description in, creating a case. It links the case to that account and creates the case with all the default values. But just to show that you can now have a flow embedded on the Lightning page via quick action and a flow component. Okay? I should probably get back to the Q&A slide, shouldn't I? From current slide. questions? Okay, so the point of this talk was to get you to go back to your org and change something. Something's better change. Is anyone going to go back to their org and change something in their org based on this talk today? Excellent. That's what we like to see. Come on, you must have some questions. Yes, please.
When you created indicators, is that quick action type still updated?
Yes, yes. So this is a new thing that came out in Winter 18, which is formula fields in quick actions. And my God, that was such a horrible time because they sort of announced it, then it wasn't there, and it was only like 2 weeks before Winter 18 was released that it actually worked. So it was just like, fabulous. And so now that we've got formula fields in quick actions, you can have an update action that has only formula fields in it. You can never update, right? But it's still just an update action, and it's still used in exactly the same way as other actions are. Who has a question?
Is it only in Lightning?
Yes. Oh, sorry, no. Quick actions are available in Classic, but and as I said, there is this app that is out there called Indicators, which you can use in Classic. But a lot of what I've shown you, of course, the conditional components and everything like that is only available in Lightning. But you can do like things like the URL hacks, the overrides and things like that in Classic. Yes, the conditional bit is only Lightning. Yeah. More questions? Okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
So, yeah, thanks, Jodie.
Thank you.